go now. Batman scoop on the mic, mix in the mix on the wheels of steel. This is what I was fucking born to do. Let's go.
Guilty to 2 counts of murder, admitting to killing her 2 young boys.
Okay, time out, stop the intro. The 2 stories I'm about to tell you can only be told in the juvenile London slang that I am best accustomed to. You see, when I was doing the research, I couldn't help but think, you're taking the piss, love. See, I believe that the keys to heaven are at your mother's feet, and children should be protected, and we think this comes naturally to every normal human being because they are a source of joy and happiness. The compassionate behavior for children becomes stronger when someone becomes a parent, especially a mother. One of the requirements of being a parent is to love your child no matter what, unconditional. But in today's cases, this proved otherwise. After learning about the situations of the 2 mothers we'll be talking about today, one will understand that not all mothers live up to these standards. I'm going to start with the story of Shaquan Duley. And when I did the research, going through my head was, darling, you bloody stupid or what? Shaquan Dooley was a young mother convicted of taking the lives of her 2 sons after suffocating both of them and submerging them into the river while Shaquan strapped the kids on the back seat of her sedan car. Her mother, the grandmother of the kids, criticized Shaquan as she was not taking care of her children and she was unemployed. And because of this, Shaquan became angry and flared up. So Shaquan took the lives of her sons and decided to get rid of their bodies desperately to cover up for her inhumane act by rolling down her car into a river in South Carolina. But let's start with her background. Shaquan Dooley was born in 1980. Shaquan gave birth to 3 kids. You had Sanya Dooley, a girl, and the first child of Shaquan, born in 2005, and 2 toddler sons, Devean Dooley, born in 2008, and Shaquan Dooley, born in 2009. Shaquan was a single parent living with her 3 children with her parents in South Carolina. Now, Shaquan shared a room with her 3 kids, Sanya, Devean, and Shaquan, in her mother's house in Orangeburg, South Carolina. On August 16th, 2010, the day of the crime, Shaquan confronted her mother, Helen, after her sister, Adrienne, bathed Devean and Shaquan. This made Shaquan so angry that she confronted her mother and sister. She accused them of invading her privacy. She felt she wasn't given enough solitude on how to live her life. Adrienne, Shaquan's sister, told Oprah Winfrey during her interview with Winfrey that Shaquan claimed her privacy was being intruded on and expressed serious anger. Adrienne felt Shaquan wasn't taking care of the kids well enough, so she decided to bathe them that morning. To me, that says that Shaquan probably didn't clean her kids for a while, and the reason why she got annoyed is not because it was an invasion of privacy, it's because she felt inadequate. She felt, oh no, I should have done this, now I feel like crap, damn. And then she took that anger out on her sister. Her sister in a way shamed her without literally shaming her. And rightly so, by the way. Meanwhile, Shaquan felt it was an insult and confronted her sister, and it wasn't right for Adrienne to bathe her kids as she wanted control over her privacy. Shaquan's mother also attested to the confrontation that morning. She said she had never seen her daughter so enraged and angry. Helen, the grandmother, claimed that she was so horrified by her daughter's rage that she dialed 911. Shaquan then grabbed her 2 sons and fled the house, never to return, and she did not inform anyone of her whereabouts. Now, according to Shaquan's mother, she was also interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, and she said that she was aware of depression that her daughter was going through, and this depression was confirmed by psychologists during Shaquan's detention. Helen said, I knew she was depressed because she was unemployed. She was depressed because she didn't have the money to care for her kids, but I looked after her and the house and paid for everything. Helen went on to say that Shaquan tried to go to school online, but she failed in all those classes and became sober and unhappy. Now, on the day of the murder, Shaquan took the 2 kids with her, the 2 sons, and left her daughter at the hands of her mother Helen. Shaquan went to lodge in a motel room where she took the lives of her 2 sons by suffocating them by covering their mouths with her hands. She then strapped them in her car's back seat while submerging her car into a nearby river. According to the autopsy conducted, the boys died of asphyxiation before they even fell into the river. The medical examiner said Shaquan used her hands to smother both Devean and Shaquan after she had snapped. Devean seemed to have struggled with his mother gasping for breath while he was being suffocated, although his 18-month-old sibling seemed not to struggle, according to Marshall. Coroner Samuetta Marshall added there was a struggle between Shaquan and her 2-year-old son. Shaquan Dooley had sustained defensive injuries while gasping for air to the autopsy reports and the investigations conducted. Now, based on Shaquan's check-in time at the motel, the police were able to determine some time of when the death took place. Shaquan reportedly checked in at the motel at 1:30 in the morning, according to Renuka Patel, the property owner. She was lying down when Shaquan rang the bell in the early hours of Monday, and Shaquan was checked into room 31 in the back of the motel. Patel inspected the property and found nothing unusual except one thing. At 2:30 a.m., she said she didn't notice a car or kids after her inspection. Patel wasn't aware that Shaquan brought her kids with her to the motel room. Patel, who has owned Trump's Inn for the past 13 years, claimed she was clueless that something was amiss until the cops showed up at her door at 8:30 on Monday morning. She was then informed by the authorities that at some point early hours on Monday, Shaquan smothered the 2 kids as they slept at the Trump Inn on 5 Chop Road. The police removed 4 plastic bags from the room, and then they told Patel that they were going to seal off the room and investigate it further. Regarding the incident itself, Shaquan strapped Devean and Shaquan to the backseat of her car after she took their lives with her hands. She then drove down the South Carolina Shillingbridge Road, where she got out of the car and submerged it into the North Edisto River in Orangeburg County, South Carolina. Her kids were still strapped in the car seat when the car plunged into the river. Shaquan then walked some mile before stopping a passerby from helping call the police, claiming she had an accident. So initially, Shaquan told the police that the kids drowned when they were into the river and she could not save them. She said that she didn't have a phone, so she went to look for a motorist to help her. Sheriff Larry Williams stated on the CBS Early Show that there were contradictions in Shaquan's initial account, one of which was the obvious fact that her clothes were dry. Sheriff Williams noted that despite her 2 children drowning in the water, and having just drove into the Edisto River while attempting to rescue her sons, the woman's clothing wasn't wet like it would have been if she had attempted to save the kids. Now, near the bridge there were some residences, but she actually traveled 3/4 of a mile to try and go get help. And there was a driver that she found who then called police, who then came onto the scene. This just added to the contradicting story where they're thinking, well, why would you go a mile down the road when you got homes right next door and you could call for help? Either way, when they confronted Shaquan about this, she eventually confessed. The Orangeburg County Sheriff's Department filed charges against Shaquan for fleeing the scene of an accident on Monday, August 16, 2010. Orangeburg County Sheriff Larry Williams believed the incident was not an accident. Shaquan, recognized by the county as the mother of the 2 kids, was questioned by the sheriff's office, where she confessed to taking the lives of her 2 sons. According to Sheriff Williams, the young mother's reports raised suspicions among the authorities. The roads that led to the Edisto River were free of any skid marks or any other clear indicators of a collision. The sheriff stated, "We believe the tale she told us wasn't factual." Throughout the night, deputies questioned Miss Dooley about her family while interrogating her. As a result of the pressures of motherhood, Shaquan eventually broke down and confessed to the deputies that she took the lives of her son, driven their bodies to the water, and then rammed the car into the water. Later in the morning, dive team members found the two bodies. They were located inside the green Dodge Intrepid. When the toddlers were found, their bodies were still fastened in their child safety seats. Now, Shaquan was arraigned in court on Friday, August 20th, 2010, where she confessed to taking the lives of her children. She felt remorseful for her actions and wished that she hadn't killed her sons. Shaquan's mother claimed that her daughter was a peaceful and lovely person, as she had never had a case with the police before. Well, if you're so peaceful and loving, what do you call this? Helen believed Shaquan must have snapped, been depressed, and wanted to be free. Free of what? Nothing could have been so bad to make you do this. Shaquan said that I want you and everyone else to know that I love my sons. Regardless of what anyone else in this world may believe, their absence breaks my heart every day. I adore them dearly. You see that a lot in these kind of cases where the murderer says, I'm sorry, I'm remorseful, blah, 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 blah. Your words mean nothing, just shut up. So in the Orangeburg County courtroom, 30-year-old Shaquan Duley forfeited her right to a jury trial and admitted guilt to 2 charges of murder. There was not a plea agreement according to the prosecution. For the first time since her arrest, Shaquan spoke in front of the public. She said, "This is the worst thing I've ever experienced. It's nothing compared to what you did to those children." You notice the language there? I'm sorry. I'm remorseful. I'm experiencing so bad. I. This is about her. Several members of Shaquan's family spoke in her place. Helen, the mother of Shaquan, expressed the love Shaquan had for her kids and pleaded with the judge to show her daughter leniency. Helen begged the judge for mercy, saying something had happened to Shaquan for her to snap to do such a thing. But Your Honor, I beseech you to please, sir, please have mercy on her. Until August 16, 2010, my daughter had never harmed anyone in her life. According to Shaquan's father, she was a very loving person. Her father, Arthur, he declared, my daughter's behavior was not at all like this. The sister, Adrienne, also begged the judge for leniency. Shaquan herself chose to make a guilty plea, and her attorney, Carl Grant, explained to the judge that Shaquan had emotional disorders. He said Shaquan had slit her wrists with a box cutter before taking the lives of her 2 sons. The lawyer pleaded with the judge for the minimum sentence of 30 years in jail, arguing that Shaquan was a cancer survivor and could be rehabilitated. Now let's get this right. She only did this because her life was shit. No job, no money, no purpose. Sorry. Leniency? It seemed that all 3 family members, including her mother Helen, her father Arthur, and her sister Adrienne, had forgiven her. Helen added that her daughter had sent her a card in appreciation for her forgiveness. Now the 2 young boys, Devean and Devean, were buried in matching white caskets 4 days after they passed away, attended by family and friends. Shaquan did not go to any of the 2 funerals, although we don't know if she requested to attend the funeral services. That information hasn't been made public. And on March the 31st, 2012, Shaquan was sentenced to 35 years in prison. Shaquan remained silent throughout the hearing, other than a very low "yes sir" in response to the questions Circuit Court Judge Edgar Dixon posed to her. Dixon stated that while he appreciated Shaquan's accepting responsibility, she needed to be held accountable for her actions. Dixon said while delivering the punishment, the court did not minimize the horror of what she did to her children, family, and town. Since then, Shaquan has been in the correctional facility at a maximum security prison. And this is why I said, are you taking the piss? There's no mental illness here. I don't care if you were feeling depressed. Right? It seems like, yeah, she was sad and maybe she had like bouts of clinical depression, but nothing where her faculties completely shut down. She knew right from wrong. She did this to her children. 35 years is way too lenient in my opinion. I think this woman is a fucking moron. But tell me, what do you think? We now move on to our next story. Marriages can sometimes be unstable. Hatred and mistrust frequently can break the sacred union between 2 couples for one. It is heartbreaking when a happy, loving marriage breaks down and ends up in divorce. the woman, in most cases, may experience emotional trauma. Then there's conflict over who takes the children. However, witnessing one spouse murder the other or even their children's lives out of rage or despair is more painful and complicated than going through a divorce. The Connie Villa narrative proceeds the same way. What began as a vow to support another ended horrifyingly and tragically imaginable. Connie Villa was born in 1978 in Casa Grande in the state of Arizona. Connie was a young lady of 22 when she gave birth to her first child, a daughter named Anaral Macias, in the year 2000. Now, the father of Anaral was Michael Macias, and his relationship with Connie started great, but eventually it soured. They ended their relationship, and then Connie took over the custody of their baby girl. When the couple separated, Connie lived with her child at her Casa Grande apartment until she later got married in 2005 to Adam Villa. Adam was born in 1980. Adam got married to Connie in 2005 when he was 25 years of age and Connie was 27 years old. Connie Villa's little girl was a child from Connie's previous marriage who was 5 years old when she and Adam married. The family of 3, including their toddler, lived in a suburb of Casa Grande, 50 miles south of Phoenix in Arizona. Adam Villa served in the Arizona National Guard and as a member of the National Guard. Adam spent a year in Iraq for active national service in 2006. Adam and Connie soon gave birth to kids. Eventually, they had 4. Anaral was a delightful child who was kind and beautiful. Anaral never stopped beaming with smiles as all loved her. Her sisters and brothers were so dear to her and she loved them unconditionally even though they were not from the same father. She cherished spending time with her dad and Gabby, her sister. Now, Connie and Adam had a relationship like anyone else. At times it was good, at times it was difficult. As much as Adam and Connie loved one another, their marriage grew tense. They struggled to agree on numerous issues and differences in their situations. Adam and Connie separated in 2012 after failing to reconcile their differences. Connie and Adam became sour when they divorced as they argued and battled over the custody of the children. This caused a serious issue between the two. Adam claimed he had the right to be the children's custodian as he would take care of them better, but Connie refused to let the children stay with their father. In the end, Connie took the life of their 13-year-old girl Anaral Macia with her hands by suffocating her after she refused to take some pills like her younger siblings. Connie wanted to kill and get rid of all the children to deny her ex-husband custody over the kids. She only succeeding in taking the lives of her first child by suffocating the little girl. The other children survived the pills and were taken to the hospital immediately as soon as the police arrived at the crime scene. Now, before I get into more detail of the crime, imagine that. You hate your ex so much, you're willing to take the lives of your children over it. Are you pathetic? It was on December the 25th, Christmas Day in the year of 2013. Connie took the life of her first child, Anaral, in the bathroom. The police alleged that Connie gave the 3 younger children some pills to take. The pills were hard drugs meant to kill the children. The children were naive about the pills. However, Anaral was aware of the impact of the pills, so she refused to take them. Connie became furious and forced her to take the pills, but her daughter rejected them again. Connie then dragged her daughter to the bathroom, where she smothered the little girl while she struggled and gasped for breath before she later died. Earlier that day, Connie told her ex-husband Adam, "Hey, why don't you come over, you can come see the kids." After being led into the premises, Connie stabbed Adam in the back and shoulder multiple times. Adam managed to escape and called the police department about what happened. He then went to the Casa Grande Regional Medical Center for treatment, as blood was gushing out of his body from the stabbed area. When the police got there not long after Anaral died, they found Connie on a bed with her other 3 kids who were at the time aged 3, 5 and 8. The 3 kids were either sleeping or unconscious from the drugs they had ingested. When the police ran into the room, Connie tried to stab herself. However, the police managed to subdue her. According to authorities, the deranged mother confessed to stabbing her ex-husband multiple times, killing her eldest daughter and giving the youngest 3 kid pills. The police then took the children to the hospital for treatment. The Casa Grande Police Department claimed that Connie did not want her ex-husband to be in charge of the kids, so she wanted to get rid of all her children and kill her ex-husband. Connie was taken to the hospital by the police officers as she had inflicted some injuries on herself. Her ex-husband, likewise, her 3 younger kids were also treated and stabilized. The authorities put the kids in custody of some family members. In Pinal County, Connie went on trial in court on July 4th, 2015. The judge presiding over the case, Judge Rudy Georgiam, set aside 8 weeks to hear the case on the court calendar regarding several allegations against Connie, including 1 count of first-degree murder and the death of her 13-year-old daughter, and 4 counts of attempted murder against her 3 children and her ex-husband Adam. Connie initially entered a not guilty plea. Meanwhile, the attorney for the county intended to pursue the death penalty, which I think he was fully justified in doing so. However, Connie eventually pleaded guilty to first-degree capital murder, 4 counts of attempted murder, 1 crime of kidnapping, and 4 charges of child abuse in 2017. Gave her a life sentence without the possibility of parole for the murder and an additional 155 years for the other offenses. So, in the case of Shaquan, her life was crap. No job, no money, depressed, so she took it out on her children. Makes no sense. In the case of Connie, she was just bitter about her ex, and then she took it out on her children. Again, it makes no sense. But how can you make sense of any of this? The whole point is not supposed to make sense, which is why none of us actually do this shit. But when Shaquan says, "Oh, I was feeling depressed and I'm remorseful," I can't help but think, bollocks. And when Connie told the police, "Well, I was trying to get back at my ex," I can't help but think, bollocks. Because there is not a single reason justifiable that can have us think, "Oh, yeah, we understand." No, we fucking don't understand. Neither one of these 2 cows, these animals, should ever be released. Comment, tell me what you think.